Hey guys, it's Rex, Rex Works Outdoors. Today we are going to be doing a couple modifications to my Loadtrail 7x14 dump trailer. So here's my dump trailer the way it sits now. I bought this dump trailer specifically to use with my mini skid steer. I wanted the short 18-inch sides so I could be able to reach over the top of it and put debris, put trash, put logs, put whatever over the top, because my mini skid steer, although it's one of the bigger ones on the market, it still doesn't reach up extremely high and far. So with this being a dump trailer, and same way with any dump trailer, people always put the boards on top of their trailer to get a little bit more volume, a little bit more, they can put more debris, stack it up higher. I really don't want that per se. But for me, mainly, I just want to protect the top of my dump trailer. So what I did is I went and picked up 3 2x4 by 16. The local lumber yard didn't have any 14 footers, otherwise I would have bought 14 foot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some boards in the stake pockets, and I'm just going to put 2x4s on top. All that it will do is allow me to protect the top of my dump trailer. It's not really going to add any volume or anything like that. I just don't want to beat up the top of my trailer. So my second, which to me is more important, well, I guess I shouldn't say it's more important, it's more useful, I should say. Let's raise this up. I'm going to show you my next modification I'm going to do to my dump trailer. We're going to raise it up, and I'll reach up underneath here and kind of show you what I'm going to do. Don't want to go too high because I got my mini skid steer strapped. I don't want to, they are heavy duty straps, but I still don't want to go up too high. So underneath my dump trailer, I've got these 2 void areas right here, one on this side, one on that side, which is approximately 2 foot by just over 6 foot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a cattle panel down at the bottom down here. That way I can put my rakes, I can put shovels, I can put miscellaneous hand tools underneath here, and they will always be with my trailer. I don't have to throw them in the back of my truck. I don't have to throw them in the bed of the trailer. They're just always here with my dump trailer. I've always got a shovel, I've always got a rake, I've always got a couple miscellaneous tools with me all the time. So that's my second modification that I'm doing. But to be honest, I don't think I'm going to be able to get it done today. So we've got rain coming in. Yesterday we had a ton of rain. Yesterday throughout the day it stopped for a little bit. It's cleared up a little bit, so I went and got a cattle panel. This is what I'm going to be putting down underneath the frame of my dump trailer. I'm going to cut this cattle panel. This was free to me. It didn't cost me anything. It was an old cattle panel that my brother had. He was wanting to get rid of. So I'm going to cut this cattle panel into 2 foot by 6 foot 6 pieces, and I will tack weld it underneath the bottom of my frame. I'll go back in and spray it to kind of, because I'll have to grind some of the spots off where I'm going to be welding underneath there. So I'll have to grind the powder coat off. I'll weld it up underneath there, then I'll go back in and touch it up with some spray paint. You won't really be able to see it, but I still want to protect it from rusting as much as possible. Even though these are powder coated, you can still see rust. I mean, it's still starting to come through. They all do it. I don't care what brand it is, they all have a little bit of rust, because when they powder coat these, they don't powder coat underneath inside certain areas. So anyway, I just want to protect my trailer. So that's what's going to happen today. It probably won't all happen today because, like I said, it's fixing to start raining. I'm going to get what I can done, and then hopefully I'll have a break in the weather tomorrow, and I'll be able to finish it all up and put it all in one video. Stick around. All right, guys, so what I've got is I've got a 16-foot long cattle panel. I'm gonna split it, and then I'll come back in and measure my length, and I'll cut it this way. So what I'm gonna be using to do that with is I'm gonna be using my Arc Captain cordless grinder, and then my Milwaukee cordless grinder as well. So I've got my Benchmark Abrasives cutoff wheel and flap disc, and I also got my Benchmark Abrasives grinding shield. So I'm going to use my cutoff wheel to cut it, and I'll go back in and soften the edges so I don't have any burrs or anything with the grinding disc. So now I got to get a length, and I'll split it this way. Then I'll have my two pieces. I'll split it, and then I'll have to cut some excess off the other side to make them even. So, and this is all just guesswork. It doesn't have to be precision because it's all going to be hidden anyway. And also, in case you're wondering, I normally don't do this stuff in shorts. That's what I had on because I didn't have plans on doing this today, but I thought it was supposed to rain a little bit sooner, but no rain yet, so I'm gonna try to get what I can done because I'll be leaving town all next week. I won't be able to do anything, so I'm trying to get a few things done before I leave. All right, guys, so I've got my panels cut for underneath my trailer. I think I have enough time to possibly get my 2x mounted. So that's what we're gonna switch gears to today. We're gonna switch gears to mounting my top rails for my dump trailer. And this is just all gonna be guess. I don't have any rhyme or reason as to why I'm gonna do something other than I just kind of want it to protect the top. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go there. This is a pivot point for, this right here is the pivot point for my gate for it to, so I can tailgate. So I don't want to go past that, so I'm going to basically kind of get it close to right here. Then I've got a stake pocket right here, got a stake pocket in the center, and I've got a stake pocket in the front. And this is my tarp system. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to raise my tarp because this is only 3.5 inches. So what I'm going to do is, here's the bolt for my tarp. I'm going to come back this side of that bolt, which you can see my mark right here on the top. I've got a mark here, and I just kind of marked a little bit of an angle right here, so it makes it easier. And I may even just kind of radius it, I'm not sure. So it makes it easier for my tarp to go up over the top and sit on top of this. I don't want a hard angle because I don't want to rip my tarp. So it's either gonna be like a 45, and maybe not a 45, like a 22.5, or I may just kind of radius. I'll probably just cut an angle and just kind of blend it a little bit because I've got my circular saw. I'm just gonna make it easy. And then what I'll do is I'll cut some small boards to go in my stake pocket. I've got carriage bolts. I'll put my boards in here, a couple carriage bolts on both sides, and it'll be done. Then whenever I want to take, if I need to take it out, I can take it out and move it real easy. Stick around. I don't like the way this looks. Not because of the angle, that doesn't bother me a bit, but just mainly because of the way this sits. I should have came back here with my angle, but I didn't want to come too far away from that. I might just shave some of the bottom of it to allow it to sit flush on top of my, it's a work in progress. Well, let's see what she looks like. So what I did is I shaved this little bit of a notch right here to allow it to set on top of this. I don't know, let's check, see if it'll fit. Okay, so what I did is I took my benchmark flap disc and I just cut a little bit of a notch right there and I rounded that off. That way whenever I pull my tarp up over, it's a nice kind of radius edge. And I'll come back in and I'll probably sand this a little bit, and I'll also probably knock this edge off here, just get rid of any radiuses. That way when my tarp comes over here, it won't have a tendency to catch on it. Then because my tarp it hooks right here. So here I marked out my second board. I used my first one as a pattern. It seemed to fit pretty much the way I wanted it to fit. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this one. After I cut this one, then I'm gonna go take my excess that I'm cutting off here and go cut my 3 sideboards for each side. I'll drill, I've got carriage bolts to go through this board into the stake pocket board, and I'll carriage bolt it, and this top rail should be done until I decide to put some type of coating on. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do there yet. All I did there is just kind of cut it so I have a straight spot to grind to, so I can use my flap disc. I don't have a jigsaw anymore. I burnt my jigsaw up here recently, and I just haven't went and bought a new one. That benchmark abrasive, even though it's maybe not necessarily for wood, it makes quick work of it. I'm gonna go to the garage and use my little miter saw to cut 6 of these stake pocket boards. I'll be right back. So all I've done right now is I put a screw in here to hold the stake pocket board, and I'll put one in each one of them, just so I can keep it pretty much where I want it. So now what I've got is I've got 3.5 inch carriage bolts. They're 1/4 inch. I don't think they need to be any bigger than that. I bought fairly cheap, with a washer and a nut, and I'm just going to drill off-centered holes on each one of these and screw it in there. Well, I couldn't find my drill bits, but I did find an auger bit that is 1/4 inch. So I tell you, you let your kids borrow your stuff and they don't ever bring it back. I can say that because I don't know if my kids borrowed my stuff or if I've just got it misplaced and have no idea where I put it. But I'm gonna bash them in a video anyway. All right, so that's done. So I think I will go back and I'm gonna drill a hole in this stake pocket right here, and I'll just put a screw in it. That'll kind of keep this from wanting to raise out. All right, guys, so that's the way I want it. I didn't want it high. I want all I'm trying to do is protect the top of my trailer. I'm gonna go back in with the flap disc. I'm gonna knock these edges off and kind of soften them up a little bit. Soften the edges, get rid of any of the corners, because I don't want to tear my tarp, and knock those edges down. And this part of the project will be done. Okay, I knocked those down also. I tell you guys, Benchmark Abrasives, doing wood, switching to metal, working really well. These are awesome flap discs. So if you're interested in any flap discs, any cutting discs, any type of abrasives or hole saws or drill bits, check them out. They have personal protection equipment, they have masks, they have grinding shields, they've got hand towels, they've got a bunch of stuff. I'll put a link in the description. All right, guys. So what I've decided to do is, in order to keep this thing from bouncing out or flopping around, I'm going to put a screw right here. I'm just going to drill a hole through the stake pocket metal, and I'm going to put an exterior screw through it into the wood. Use all of them the same. That's it. Now it's solid. Well, guys, that is another part of this project down. Recap, what I did is I cut some boards, put my 2x4x14. I tapered the edge. That way, whenever I want to put my tarp, can go right up over the top. I've kind of sanded it a little bit. I've sanded all the edges. I've got rid of all the sharp edges on the screws. I put a screw here to hold the stake pocket in. It can't come out. And like I said, I only wanted it there to protect the top of my bolt, to protect the top of my trailer. All right, guys, we are back trying to get the trailer finished. We did some modifications to it the other day. We cut a cattle panel so we could put underneath the trailer. I'm gonna put a cattle panel underneath here and hopefully one on the other side. I haven't decided whether I'm just gonna use one or two. So it started raining the other day and I wasn't able to get my trailer done. I wasn't able to get the video finished. It's not raining right now. It looks like it's fixing to. It looks like it's fixing to. We're gonna try to get this knocked out before the rain hits. I hauled some compost today for a gentleman and I pulled back through. I already had the trailer hooked up and empty. So I pulled back through next to my little makeshift garage so I can access my welder. So right now I've got my Yeswelder, the DP 200. So I've got it set up on 110. Right now I've got it set at 130 amps to weld this cattle panel in. I'm gonna grind off the powder coat on the bottom where the cattle panel is gonna go using my Arc Captain and my Benchmark abrasive wheel. Get up underneath there, grind some bare spots. Oh, just so in case you're wondering, I did unhook my trailer from my truck. Everything is unhooked. So I've also unhooked the battery from my pump. So that way if there's any current that goes through the trailer, it doesn't affect any of my electronics, on whether it be on my dump trailer or my truck. 5 minutes of precaution can possibly save me money down the road. I've heard it can hurt it. I don't know. I haven't experienced that, but I don't want to take that chance. So what we're going to get underneath there, use the Benchmark abrasive flap disc and grind some bare spots underneath here. Set the cattle panel up underneath and probably use a floor jack to hold it in place and tack weld it in. So to be perfectly honest, I'm having issues with my garage. I don't have enough power in my garage to run this welder, so it keeps tripping my breaker. So I'm just gonna try to get a few tacks on it. Then I can go over to my buddy's house and use his bigger welder. If I had my 145 MIG from Arc Captain, I could do it. I've loaned that out to a friend of mine and he's at work right now. I don't have access to it, so I'm having to use this one. reduce it down. It's a dual voltage. I've got it set to 110, but it's still pulling more than what my little garage can handle, because I've only got enough power supply to this garage basically just for lights, so I can see what's in there and charge my batteries for my cordless stuff. I'm gonna try to get a couple tacks in a couple spots just so it won't fall off when I'm driving down the road. All right, guys, I think we got her at least tacked on enough that it ain't gonna go nowhere. Unfortunately, I don't have it completely welded in place. I've got it tacked about probably 12 spots around. It can't go anywhere. I mean, it's solid. It ain't gonna go anywhere, but I also am not gonna put tools and stuff on it and drive with it the way it is. I haven't decided whether I'm gonna put the other one on there just yet. I don't really need a whole lot of room. We'll see what all I can get in here real quick and kind of show you the way it's gonna work. Oh, in case you're wondering, yeah, I had the safety bar in place. All right, guys, so this is what we have come up with. Now I can throw my shovels, I can throw my rakes, my brooms, I can throw different things in there. I am gonna put like not a ratchet strap, but a bungee, all bungee around it to kind of keep them somewhat secure. Then now I can just lower down. And everything is up here out of the way. Nothing's getting hit. I've got plenty of room. I can, I'm not sure if I can get a scoop shovel in there. I'll find out, because I do have a bar, a support bar on the bottom of the deck right here. So what this will allow me to do is it will allow me to clear the clutter out of the back of my truck. So I don't have to have rakes and shovels and all of that stuff in the back of my truck all the time. They're always in the trailer. I know where if I go to a job, when I get there, I'm like, shoot, I forgot my shovels or my rakes or a broom or whatever. I know what will always be in my trailer, and it'll be out of sight, out of mind. And I don't have to put it in the floor. I don't have to worry about it. So guys, this has been Rex with Rex Works Outdoors. I would appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up, give me a subscribe. Please leave a comment. I love reading the comments. I answer every one of them. Guys, I'm gonna get out of here. It's starting to sprinkle. I got this tacked up just in time before the rain hits. So, grandsons, Pop Q loves you. I hope you guys are having a good day.